Bandung 2 presents the After Dark Debates.
Critical discussions on contemporary issues.
Open this up a little bit. A number of really interesting issues that have been touched upon here. I mean, the whole issue of, there seems to be a consensus already emerging that the Quran is the Furqan, fundamentally. And Abdul Karim, you started off by undermining the classical Furqan, and we might today want to also undermine a modernist or a secularist or a fundamentalist or a traditionalist or a spiritual Furqan, and centralize it all back onto the Quran. So that's one point I just wanted to pick up, that the consensus seems to have emerged on that, and there doesn't seem to be too much difference of opinion, if any at all. The other issue that really kind of interests me is this whole question of classification, which we seem to have moved into very quickly and covered a lot of terrain already. And the issue I want to raise now, possibly as a question and field this to gauge some opinion here, is Abdullah, you raised the point that according to the Quran, as you open Surah Al-Baqarah, you see that Allah Ta'ala has identified the mu'min, the kafir, and the munafiq, the, if you like, crudely, the believer, the disbeliever, and the hypocrite. But given that it's an established principle, this may be subject to criticism, we may want to criticize this, but it's an established principle within Islamic thought that only Allah knows the intention and the inward, the batin, and we have to deal with the zahir, the outward. We have to judge on the basis of the outward. So when we're dealing with other people, whether they claim to be Muslim or non-Muslim or black or white or whatever, we're judging them on the basis of the outward, in other words, behaviors. So this description in the Quran about believer, disbeliever, munafiq, is this a behavioral definition? In other words, we're not dealing here with theology. We're not dealing with somebody's aqidah, like, are you an Ash'ari, are you a Mu'tazili, are you a Salafi, are you a Sufi? But rather we're saying, what is your relationship that's observable in terms of how you treat yourself, how you treat others, how you treat the rest of the created order, how you treat Allah. In other words, there's something in the zahir that we can see, and on that basis we can classify. And on this basis, I would argue that what we're talking about here is a political interpretation of iman and of kufr and of nifaq. Because, I have to qualify this by saying how I'm understanding politics here. I'm understanding here in terms of the kind of power relation that's established between individuals and between the individual and Allah. So for example, if I see you as a person who claims to be a Muslim or a mu'min, a believer, openly undermining basic Sharia principles as endorsed by the Quran and as extended in Sunnah, if you like, then on that basis I could make what they call takfir. I could say, this is an act of kufr. I don't know what's in your heart, and really I can't deal with that anyway because I don't have access, but I have to deal with the outward. And so what I'm essentially doing in that is looking at your political relationship with Allah and with other human beings. Yeah, I'm gauging how you are acting. And the reason I'm trying to, in some ways, open this up is because these classifications of schools of thought, of manhaj, of method, of fiqh in terms of whichever madhab you happen to belong to, sectarian divisions, Sunni, Shia, etc., do they actually have any relevance when it comes down to behavior as opposed to theology? I mean, theologically, as you said, there's 1200 years possibly of Islam too. And if we engage with that heritage through its principal medium, I guess, which is texts, what we find is text after text after text exploring theological differences. I mean, there's a classic book by, I think, Sharastani on the divisions and sects, listing the 73 sects according to the hadith, and the minute theological differences amongst them. But isn't the real issue, and the burning issue, at least for contemporary Muslims, the political issue? In other words, political, if you like, for want of a better word, political aqidah rather than theological aqidah.